And we're back for the final segment of Vegas Pulse, Stories from Back of the House with Doug Jablin. Jubilation was a big, happy place back in the 70s. And that's part of your documentary?
Yeah, it is. Because right after Saturday Night Fever, disco exploded. Everything we've been talking about for the most part is pre-disco. And when Saturday Night Fever hit, everyone wanted to dance.
Everybody wanted that floor that was in the movie that had the lights on it. And at the brewery, they put that floor in. We did have a floor like that at the brewery. So what was the subject you...
So Jubilation.
Oh, Jubilation. The thing about Jubilation is that it was designed for the cocaine era, and there was the cocaine era here in town in the late 70s and a lot of the 80s. But I left to go run a TV station in Reno, KAME, Channel 21, with other partners, legitimate. But the thing about Jubilation is they designed the bathrooms to accommodate cocaine heads. The doors closed and locks, and it wasn't the usual bathroom. It was a room by itself with a counter that the people would go in there and put their drugs on and take care of business. And everybody came out of that room was really loaded. And it makes for some crazy things. But they had a great restaurant there. And a lot of the politicians, a lot of the big shots all went there to eat. It was Paul Anka's Jubilation at the time, and later became more famous when it became the Shark Club, named after Jerry Tarkanian.
And Frank Rosenthal and Anthony Spilotro had a booth there.
And a piece of the action on top of that, they had a booth there. They did. They also had a booth at the Chateau Vegas, which is not there anymore. They had a booth at the Cafe Nicole, which was another hangout. We go to lunch at Cafe Nicole. We'd go to dinner at one of their joints, Alias Smith and Jones, or another one that I forget the name of it right now. Some other places owned by these people. And then at dinner, late night dinner was at the Chateau Vegas with the best steak tips in the world. And, of course, the Italian food there was out of sight.
One of the things that you told me that I really liked was even if the mob didn't run the club, you had to go through the mob to get all the accoutrements.
They ran the outside of the club, but there was a lot of it inside as well. I mean, I really don't know exactly who had what piece of what, but I'm pretty sure there was some influence in every single nightclub in town because that was their business. And the strip joints, too, except for one, the Olympic Garden, which was owned by, what's his name, Iliadis, who also owned Yellow Cab, a taxi company, which made it easy for taxi drivers to bring business to the Olympic Garden, which was on Las Vegas Boulevard. And the strip started here was a slogan I gave them. It was an obvious slogan, but it was one they used. And Al Mangarelli was the owner of the Chateau Vegas in part. He also was in the Black Book, and so he also owned the Rose Bowl race book, which was where the Wynn is now. But he didn't own it in legitimacy. He had to have his wife on the contract and so on. And then there was Country Club Towers. We all lived across the street from the Chateau Vegas in Country Club Towers, which is still standing. And before that, if you were in the mob, you lived on the Las Vegas Country Club. But the mob did a good job. I mean, I they were murderers and thieves, and we should all certainly condemn them for that. But what they did was, and what people still talk about today, is the customer service. Everybody was a VIP. Everybody was not a number. They were a name. And it didn't matter how much money you were losing or winning. Everybody got the accoutrements, the comps, the free sandwiches. In the pits, they had cigarettes, free cigarettes to pass out, free drinks, free food, free cigarettes, and a comp for a room if you're losing. And if you're winning, you got to comp for a better room.
Yeah, a whole different Vegas.
Yeah. You want to do another show?
Sure.
We can do that.
Okay.
Because we're out of time on this one. Mm-hmm. Is there a question you really want to ask that you didn't get to?
It's more just general things because we didn't have time to go into any depth about, the nature of any of the clubs. So,
I can go more in depth with you when they die. It'll be a lot easier to talk about these people.
but even just the disco lifestyle that you were living because you
It
had
was
multiple
drug
cars.
fused, booze fused, martinis and cocaine. That was the order of the day.
And-
Now, I'm certainly more martini than I was cocaine.
But to be able to go into that, yourself within the era typifies everyone that was, within the
It
era.
was blatant. Nothing was hidden. It was on the tables. If you knew the maitre d', you were able to score on the way in, whatever you wanted. Or if it wasn't then, get a seat, and a few minutes later, the maitre d', and they were all named Ignacio for some reason. And for whatever reason, every maitre d' was Ignacio. I don't know why.
Go figure.
But they would come to your table and give you an envelope and thank you very much. It was readily available. The whole town was drug infused. There was politicians, who I will not mention their names, that passed around cocaine at parties in silver trays, just like you see on TV. And Diddy wasn't even there. Just kidding. Cut that part out.
So yeah, this is really good. And then the pay to play attitude with the county commissioners.
Yeah, there was a way you could buy your way into everything. Now, none of that's true today. They've cleaned.
No,
all
we're
that
talking
up.
about the 70s right
The
now.
70s, right? We got to say it's the 70s.
Yeah.
It was fast, loose, and wild.
So if you wanted to gain ownership of a nightclub and you were part of the mob, if you paid them enough, then they would give you the license. So,
Pretty much. Pretty much. They go through some official steps, but that was then. Yeah. We're out of time. I want you to invite you back. I'm going to do this show every single week and have you ask me more questions. And if we missed anything on this show, then we can talk privately, and I'll give you the rest of the story. Thank you all for watching the first show of Vegas Pulse. We're gone a little long today, but we'll fix it. I'm Ron Garrett. My guest has been Doug Jablin, talking about his new documentary that we'll be able to see soon. He could use some financing. Hey, everybody needs help who are artists. Thanks for watching right here on Hey Vegas TV. Bye-bye.